This is me. Pardon the amateurish nature of this video, but given the problems that we had Wednesday night at the inaugural class session, during which I was nearly completely unable to communicate with you via Zoom, I really wanted to make a quick video and put it up on our Northwest Online site so I could get to tell you the things that I planned to tell you on Wednesday, but that did not quite work out. So there is that. Also, just FYI, the problem that we had Wednesday night was not due to poor internet connection, wasn't even due to operator error, which just surprised the hell out of me, I'll be frank. It was a hardware failure. There's something screwy with my computer's microphone. It's not software, the drivers and everything are up to date. I think the microphone is just giving its last dying gasp. So hopefully I can get that replaced, get that fixed before our next ostensibly real-time session on whatever it is, this coming Thursday, okay? So anyway, but right now, want to give you a quick sort of introductory talk, the thing I hope to give Wednesday. And pardon me as I look at my notes here. Okay, one of the things we didn't actually do was talk about what the course goal is, okay? I mean, we said there's a lot of material and you have several assignments that are up now that some of you have already really got started on in a really positive fashion. Good for you. And if you haven't yet started those, do it real soon because since this is only a 4-week course, the deadlines are not far away, especially for the things that we're doing right now. Anywho, course goal. We are going to hopefully examine through research, through observation, through analysis, through synthesis, through interpretation, how that lowliest of literary forms, the comic book, has somehow given rise to a figure in American consciousness, that of the superhero, and that's a figure that is central to American consciousness. So we're going to look at how this has happened and how that figure, this is the hypothesis that I'm operating from. Maybe this will turn out to be the case. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But my hunch is that the figure of the superhero in American consciousness, in American culture, embodies many of those traits that we associate with the American ideal or the American dream, okay? You've probably heard this before. Truth, justice, and the American way. Well, what the hell's the American way, okay? That's a thing that we're going to try to figure out, okay? And if you really want to find out what is important to a culture, go to its literature, go to its fiction, go to the stories that people in that culture tell each other, okay? That's important. Let me say it again. If you really want to see what's important to people in a culture, go to the culture's literature and look at that. That might seem counterintuitive. You might be saying, but that's fiction. That's not real. True enough, okay? But through that fiction, a lot of reality, a lot of cultural and social truths are nigh inevitably revealed if you look long enough and close enough, and if you try to put together the elements you find in the fiction. Death, 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 death. Did you see Trolls, the movie? If you did, you'll recognize that. Death, 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 death. If not, you should see it. It's a movie that has no right to be as good as it is. Anyway, if you really want to see what's important to a culture, look at its fiction. If you look long enough and close enough and you consider the elements in that fiction along with your knowledge of other aspects of the culture, you get a pretty good idea of what is important to those people, okay? Sometimes what is important to them is real things. Sometimes, as in the case, I think, of the comic book superhero, which is now the cinematic superhero, what is important is not real things, but the desire for real things, real events, the desire for situations to be a certain way, even if they're not, okay? Now, it might seem like going to the fiction of a culture, to the stories, is not the first place you would go. You'd think maybe laws, maybe go to the legal system of a culture, maybe go to the religious systems of a culture. Neither of those is a really reliable way, though, to see what is actually important to folks in any particular society. Okay? For laws, that is because what is legal and what is ethical, what is moral, what the people in a culture want or what they hold to be important, those things do not necessarily overlap with the law. Okay? What is legal and what is ethical are completely different things. Occasionally they overlap, and aren't those happy coincidences when they occur? But they occur very infrequently. Quite frankly, almost any instance in American law, anyway, of what is legal and what is right overlapping is a coincidence. So you cannot rely on a legal system, okay, and the laws of a culture to tell you what's really going on, okay? Well, okay, you can actually, but not in the way that we are talking about. You can look at the laws of a culture and go, okay, who are these laws designed to benefit? In the case of the United States of America, they are designed primarily to benefit the wealthy, okay? So, yeah, that's what you can tell by looking at our laws. But you can't tell what the other, 99.5% of us think and feel and want. Well, so how about the religious systems of a culture? Why not go to those? Well, that's because although the religious systems of a culture ostensibly indicate what the people in that society think is moral or ethical or right, as often as not, the people in the culture more pay lip service to those religious tenets than they do actually embody them in the way that they live their lives, in the way they speak, the way they act, in their priorities, okay? Now, that's not to say, nobody take offense, okay? This is not to say that people don't approach their religious faith sincerely, because many people really do. And I think that lots and lots of people, maybe the majority of people, actually try, at least a little bit, to live by the tenets of whatever religious system they follow. But, there's always a but, isn't there? Seldom does it happen. Seldom does it happen, okay? One big example, United States of America, right? What is our economic system? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Yes, capitalism, exactly, okay. And what is the most profitable way, what is the means that is most profitable within capitalism of garnering a profit? No, not that one. Right. Yes, the loaning of money, the gathering of interest. Our whole society, a big part of its foundation is people getting rich by loaning money and charging interest for it. Okay? Now, what's wrong with that? Well, we won't really get into that discussion right now, but suffice it to say that that is one of the more obvious examples of how what is real in a culture does not square with the primary religious beliefs of a culture, okay? One of the fundamentals of Christianity, right, is that usury is bad. What is usury? Usury is the loaning of money for profit. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, no. Usury means the loaning of money for excessive profit. No. That is a myth. That is a distortion of the meaning of the term that in this capitalistic society has become very common. Why has it become common? Because lots of people make lots of money off of loaning money to folks. And so in an ostensibly Christian culture, they've got to find a way to justify that because, well, I can't quote you chapter and verse, but what was Jesus Christ's reaction to the moneylenders in the temple? Yeah, right. He was not down with it. Okay? So that's an example of how what really goes on in a culture does not reflect the religious system. Okay? So we can't go to laws. We can't go to the religious systems. And another reason that the religious systems are not a good way to find out what's important in a culture is that in a culture as humongous as American culture, there are so many of them. Okay? Even just within Christianity, you got Catholicism, you got Episcopalianism, you got baptism, you got Methodism, you got this ism, you got that ism, you got all kinds of isms. Okay? Which of those is the right ism? You tell me, because I don't know. All right? When I was growing up, the church that I went to was the Lennox Christian Church. You don't get much more generic than that title, do you? But it was kind of a stroke of brilliance on behalf of whoever named the Lennox Christian Church, because they kind of did away with all of the, so are you Methodists? Are you Baptists? Are you Presbyterians? We're Christians. Call us what you want. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, there's too many religions for us to reliably go to any one of them and say, this gives us the truth of a culture. And if we go to a bunch of them, they go,